take some time this morning and speak to us briefly here from this topic, 3 strikes, but I'm still in the game. 3 strikes, but I'm still in the game. You may be seated today in the very presence of the Lord. Will you help me in getting this message into the atmosphere on today? Let me hear you shout out, 3 strikes, but I'm still in the game. Let me hear you the second time shouting it out this way. Let me hear you shout out, I have 3 strikes, but I'm still in the game. I want you to look at your neighbor and let your neighbor know that about yourself. Let your neighbor know that say, neighbor, I have 3 strikes, but I'm still in the game. And I'm going to trouble you one more time because you didn't say it, with no kind of attitude. And for us, some of us, I know it hasn't resonated yet, but stay with me and I'll show you what I'm talking about here on today. Let me hear you shout out to your neighbor with a little bit of attitude. Let me hear you shout out, neighbor, I have 3 strikes, but I'm still in the game. Now put those blessed hands together and give the Lord some praise in this house. In the game of baseball, a strike is when the batter swings a whiff at the ball, misses, and he's given a strike. When the batter is at plate, he has but 3 strikes until he is declared out. In U.S. criminal in U.S. criminal justice law, there is what is known as the habitual offender law, which is commonly referred to as the 3 strikes law. And the 3 strikes law, it requires that a person that is guilty of committing a felony and 2 other previous convictions to serve a mandatory life sentence in prison, hence the term 3 strikes and you're out. This mentality has captured and cultivated not only how many opportunities that we are willing to give a person, but also if a person is even worthy of being considered. This 3 strikes and you are out has created an unwritten rule, a standard in which society and even unfortunately the church has governed itself by. You have 3 strikes, you have 3 chances, and after those 3 strikes or those 3 chances, you are out. If you have 3 strikes in your relationship, the likelihood is that you are out. If you have 3 strikes on your job, the likelihood is that you are out. If you have 3 strikes in society, the likelihood is that you are out. If you have 3 strikes even in the church, unfortunately, the likelihood is that you are out. But saints of God, I've come this morning not to harp on being out, but I've come this morning just to share with us here on today that I am glad that in heaven's economy that the 3 strike standard, that it is not divine law. In fact, it has been said that we serve the God not of a second chance, but we serve the God of another chance. In other words, and in essence, what I'm sharing with you here today is that you can have 3 strikes and you can still be in the game. And I don't know about you, maybe that's not the message for this house, because perhaps I got up and came to Mount Sinai and the Lord sent the slew of saints who are perfect in their lives. But this is really for those persons that are not ashamed to admit that somewhere along life's journey that you have messed up along the way. Let me try it one more time, because perhaps I'm preaching to a house of believers that have never made any mistakes in their lives. And if that is for you, here's your opportunity to put up that Baptist finger and tip on out of the sanctuary, because this message is not tailored for the perfect, but this message is tailored for those saints of God that have made some mistakes along the way. I mean, are there any people in this house on today? I know you're trying to look perfect in front of your neighbor. I know that it is the first Sunday in December, and I know that you want to look good in the sanctuary, look holy, look like you didn't make no mistakes on last night. None this week that just passed. None in November, none in the months prior to November. You are perfect all through 2018. And you came here on the first Sunday in December, and with your perfect self, this does not register to you. But for those of us that can look back, not at the beginning of the year, but you can look back at last night, and some of us made some mistakes this morning. Isn't it good news to know that in heaven's economy, that the 3-strike standard, that it is not divine law? I mean, isn't it good news to know? You can talk back to me, it's not going to bother me, but isn't it good news to you to know that in heaven's economy, that the 3 strikes law, that it is not divine law, and that we serve a God not just of a second chance, but he is a God of another chance. And I can be honest with you, I used my second chance up many years ago, and I'm glad that since I've messed up and I've used my second chance many years ago, that God showed up in my life and he gave me another chance. Is there anybody in here today that can testify that I've used up my 3 strikes, but thanks be unto God that I'm still in the game? And I will tell you,